Hello data folks, hope you all are doing well. Welcome to the playlist where we learn new formula every day. So in our last video, we learned the concept of join. We learned the formula join. And we understood that how this formula helps join two different texts from two different columns and create a new column. Today's video is going to be exactly opposite. Today we are going to learn split. It's very evident from the name what it does, but we'll see what it does in practical. So, if you can see on my screen, we have something called full name and we want it to get split into columns B and C. In B column, we should have first name and in C, we should have last name. That is the requirement. Now, in last session, if you have watched, that was completely opposite. We already had first name and last name in two different columns and we wanted to join it and create one single column which will have full name. Now this requirement is completely opposite, and since we are going to separate the first name and last name, that's why the formula or the function name is called split. Easy to understand, correct? Without wasting any time, let's start writing the formula. Split is the function's name. Now there are 4 arguments in this formula. This is the basic part which I'm currently telling you. So first we'll understand only 2 arguments. That will be, the first 2 arguments are text and then we have delimiter, right? So which text do we want to split? That would be this A3, comma, delimiter. I already told you what a delimiter is in the last session. Delimiter is nothing, a character which separates a structure of data. So here, what do we have as delimiter between John and Smith? The character is a space, right? We have a space between John and Smith. So our delimiter would be nothing but our space. That's it. I told you between inverted comma, space is a character, right? So between inverted comma, if we just give a space, Google Sheet will read that space as the delimiter between John and Smith. Now, if we just click enter, we have John and Smith. I don't know what happened to the formatting, but fine, no problem. Yeah. So we have John in B column and Smith in C column. So now you can see on the basis of space, we were able to split the name and we got 2 different columns. Let me write the same formula in the whole column. And that's it. It was so easy. You got the full name split into 2 columns as the first name and the last name. Now think how much time and energy you will spend if you want to do the same work manually. But with the help of this function and this formula, this work got so much easier and so much quicker, right? So that's why we need these quick, small, simple formula of Google Sheet. And that's how Google Sheet and these functions become so significant, especially in corporate. Fine. Now comes the second usage. So in D column, we have something called email, correct? Now that email has 2 parts. We have username, right, which is john.smith, and then we have domain, which is email.com, yahoo.com, or whatever. The requirement is that we want this email to get split into username and domain, right? Let's do that. Okay, split. Which is the text that we want to split? D3. Now, what is the delimiter here? Now, if you'll see John Smith and email.com, in between of these 2 values, we have something called @. So that will act as a delimiter, and that @ is consistently available throughout the column, throughout the email IDs. So if we just use @ as a delimiter, we can conveniently separate username and domain, right? So that's what we're gonna do. Always give double inverted comma, and inside that you are going to write your delimiter. In this case, we have @ as a delimiter, correct? That's it. You got john.smith, which was the username in E column, and then email.com, which was the domain name in Such simple and easy formula to make your life easier. That's it. Now, if your manager asks to do something like that, just think how much time can you save? How much effort can you save? Now comes the very easy again. Okay, so till now, we were separating two texts. In the first column, if you see, we had John and Smith and we separated them. Then we had username and domain, we separated them. But now, the information that we have in G column, it has 4 different kind of attributes. Okay, so first is t-shirt, which is the category. Then we have red, color, M, size, cotton, fabric. We want these 4 texts to be separated and we want 4 different columns to be created, right? Let's do that as well. It's very similar and simple. Which text do we want to work on? This. And okay, so in this case, what is the delimiter? Look carefully. You'll see t-shirt and red. It's separated by nothing but a dash. Again, red and M, it's separated by a dash. M and cotton is separated by a dash. Correct? I'll just zoom it a bit if you're having a hard time reading it. Fine. So what will we give as a delimiter? A dash. That's it. And then let's see. Ta-da! We have t-shirt, red, M and cotton. Split in 4 different columns. It was that easy. That's it, done. So no matter how many texts do you have to separate, if you have a delimiter, you can easily use this formula and separate them, split them, okay? Now comes address. So this scenario is, I think I have gotten this scenario many a times because, when you are dealing with the sales data, in that case, region and country, these 2 parameters become very important because very often managers would want to see that which region and which country is providing the highest number of revenue, highest number of sales, highest revenue. So in that case, when a customer is entering the address, generally they enter full address, right? But just to analyze and understand the pattern of the sales, managers would want to see that which city, which region, which country is generating high revenue, and you might be asked to get those data from the address. So I have gotten this kind of task, so I'm assuming you might get in future. So that's why this becomes very important. Now, if you just see the address, we have 123 Main Street, which is the street name. Then we have New York, which is city, and then USA country. So, and all these are separated by a comma. Okay. So we're going to split. Oh, sorry. Split. Okay. This is the text, and the delimiter would be comma, right? And that's it. So when I was given this task and I was not aware that I could do this and I can save so much of time. So, and I think I wasted a little time, but then in midway I got to know that, okay, there's something called split. So that's why I want to save your time and you can use this formula. See, it was so easy peasy to understand, right? So till now, whatever you learned was basic. It was very basic functions. If you would notice, split actually has 4 arguments. I think I told you in the beginning of the video. Split has 4 arguments. We only learned about first 2. Now we are going to understand what are the last 2 arguments and what are the usage of that. Okay, that we'll learn in advanced. Okay. Before that, what if you have a text which is separated by 2 different kind of delimiters? That might also be the case, right? In last which we were learning here, so in here we had 4 attributes: t-shirt, red, M, cotton, but all those four attributes were separated by same kind of delimiter, which was dash, right? T-shirt and red was separated by a dash. Then red and M was separated by a dash. M and cotton was separated by a dash. And that's the pattern which this column was following. But that might not be the case always. You might get texts separated by different kinds of delimiter. How does that look? I will show you. Sorry. So here apple and orange, it's separated by a comma, and orange and banana, that is separated by a semicolon. So that's what I was talking about. In same text, you have two different kinds of delimiter, but our requirement is same. We want apple, orange, banana to be in three different columns. So what are we gonna do? Nothing. It's not going to be very tough. We're just going to use split function. Text is apple, orange, and banana. And again, similar, double inverted comma. In double inverted comma, the way we were mentioning delimiter before, one delimiter we were mentioning. Now, since we have two delimiters, we are going to use two delimiters. Simple. So first we are going to use comma, and then we are going to use this delimiter. Okay. Now comes the third argument. It's asking split by each. So it's asking that since you have entered two different kind of delimiters here, you have entered a comma and then you have entered, let me zoom it out. Yeah, so Google Sheet is asking me that you have entered two different kinds of delimiters here. You have entered a comma and then you have entered a semicolon. Okay, so do you want to use these two delimiters separately, or you want to use them as a combination? So do you want to split the texts in between wherever you see one of these delimiters, or you want to split the text only where you see these two present together? So that's what third argument means. In this place, if we just write true means I want to use these two delimiters separately. Okay, separate by each means comma should be treated as a different delimiter and semicolon should be treated as a different delimiter. I am not looking for a pattern here. That's it. Apple, orange, banana. Now, what if? The question is, what if I have used false? Now, when I write false, what I'm trying to tell Google Sheet that, see, it will not separate because I wrote false. Now Google Sheet is looking for delimiters like this. It's looking for delimiters where these both should be present together. Because when I was asked split by each, I wrote false. So I told no, I do not want these delimiters to be used separately, but I want them to be present together. So now Google Sheet is looking for a delimiter like this, comma and semicolon. So that is the reason why when I wrote false here, Google Sheet was not able to split this. But if I write true, oh, okay, sorry, yeah, there's a text here. See, it was easy for Google Sheet to understand and Google Sheet split it. It's that simple. I hope you understood the third argument and the use of the third argument. Anyway, if you didn't, I still have more examples to make you understand. See, come here. So now you see we have, let me zoom it out. We have apple and orange are separated by semicolon, but orange and banana are separated by a vertical line. Okay, or a pipe, whatever you call it. So again, we have two different kinds of delimiters, but those two different kinds of delimiters are available at two different places, right? So if we write split here, okay, and then this is the text, and then we want delimiter. Now remember we have two different kinds of delimiter, so we are going to mention both of them and not just one. So we mentioned both delimiters, and then comes the third argument, split by each. Do you want to split by each? I want, yes. I want semicolon and this vertical pipe, this vertical line, to be treated as two different delimiters present at two different places. I do not want to be used them as a combination. I do not want. I want that I have a text and those texts are separated by somewhere by semicolon and somewhere by vertical pipe, vertical line. That's why I wrote true here. And what happens when I write true? These three get separated. But what happens? I'll show you again what happens if I write split, if I write false there. Text, delimiter, sorry, okay, and split by each. Third argument was what? Split by each. Just I write no, false. I don't want it to be split by each. What happens? It doesn't split. Why it doesn't split? Because we do not have semicolon and vertical pipe available together anywhere in the text. Do we have? It's not together, right? Semicolon is at different place and vertical pipe is at different place. So we do not have it available together. So why are you, if you are giving false in the place of split by each, Google Sheet is trying to find this combination. Google Sheet is trying to find this combination, right? And it could not find this combination anywhere in the texts, so it didn't separate it. It didn't split it. It didn't perform. What if we had this combination available? Then what will happen? See? I'll just remove this. So I just changed semicolon. I added a vertical pipe here besides semicolon, right? So now we have a combination of this available, semicolon and a vertical pipe available in the text. What did Google Sheet read? I wrote that I want this combination to be found in the text and then split on that basis. So what did Google Sheet do? Google Sheet found this combination between apple and orange and banana. So this combination was found here. That's why only these two parts got split. And still orange and banana did not get split. Why? Because between orange and banana, what kind of delimiter is available? Just a vertical pipe. But as per our formula, what kind of delimiter do we want to be found? A semicolon and a vertical pipe, right? That's why orange and banana did not get split. And only apple got split because between apple and these two, we had this combination. I hope you understood. Now let me add a semicolon before vertical pipe. Now see what happens. Sorry. Yeah. Now what did I do? I created a combination of semicolon and vertical pipe here also and here also, orange and banana, right? I created a combination. Now what happens? Now see, it very simply separated those three texts. Why? Because as per my formula, I wrote false in the place of split by each, and I told Google Sheet that try to find the combination of these two delimiters, and if you find that combination, then only split, otherwise don't, right? That's what command I gave to Google Sheet, and that's how Google Sheet performed. Google Sheet went in the text and it started trying to search for the combination of delimiters of semicolon and a vertical pipe. Did it find? Yes, it did. Between apple and orange, we have a combination of semicolon and a vertical pipe, and then between orange and banana, we again have the same combination of semicolon and vertical pipe. And that's how apple, orange, banana, all of three got split. Simple, right? So I hope you understood what is the meaning of split by each and when to write true, when to write false. I'll just reiterate it for the last time. If you want those delimiters, if you have mentioned more than one delimiter in the place of delimiters, okay, in the text, in the string, and you want those delimiters to be treated differently, right? So if you want Google Sheet to find semicolon, and then you want the same for vertical pipe. For example, if you want to give command to Google Sheet that I have given you to find two delimiters, one is semicolon and one is pipe, and it's not necessary that these two delimiters are available exactly in the same combo. That is not the case. There is possibility that semicolon will be separating some other texts and vertical pipe will be separating some other texts. So you have to treat them separately, right? Split by each, correct? And then I gave true. So Google Sheet will treat semicolon as a different delimiter, vertical pipe as a different. And that's how we got these three split. But if you give two different delimiters and then if you give false, then Google Sheet will start searching for the places where these two delimiters should be available in this combo only. Then only the text will be separated, otherwise not. Okay, that is the difference between true and false. Now comes the fourth argument. Okay, let's understand what is the fourth argument. We gave split, okay, then we chose the text, fine. What is the delimiter? Here we see comma, comma, comma. Okay, fine, we see comma, right? So we can just give one comma. And we want to split by each. We do not want the combination, okay? We give true, right? Just now we learned what is split by each. Then comes the fourth argument. It says remove empty text. Okay, that is the fourth argument. Now let's understand what is remove empty text. Yeah. So it's asking, the fourth argument is remove empty text. Let's try to understand. First I'll give it as true. Okay, what happens if I ask remove empty text as true? These three got separated as apple, orange, banana. I'll tell you what's happening. Just first try to understand what happens if we write true and false. How does it behave? Okay, can you just remove, yeah, comma, and then we want it to be separated by each. And then here, in the place of fourth argument, I'm going to give remove empty text. I'm giving false. Okay, I just want to see the difference. How does it work? See what exactly happened here. So now when I gave remove empty text as false, I got the result as apple, then one space, and then orange, then again one space, and banana. Why it happened? Try to understand clearly. If you see carefully, you have two commas between apple and orange, right? And again two commas between orange and banana. So what's happening when you told false in the place of remove empty text? So that's what our split function was asking. Do you want to remove these empty texts? We told no, we don't want to remove. So Google Sheet treated the space between these two comma as a blank cell. Similarly, we have two commas between orange and banana. So Google Sheet is treating the space between two commas as an empty text, an empty cell. And that's why when it comes to result, Google Sheet is throwing two empty cells between apple and orange and banana. But if you'll see here, we simply wrote, when we were asked that do you want to remove empty text, we told yes, we want to remove empty text. In this case, the empty text between two commas were removed. One more thing I want to tell you, why exactly it's happening, because we have given this delimiter as comma, correct? So now Google Sheet is trying to read the text in such a way that anything before comma is a text and anything after that comma is also a text, correct? So here, what is before comma? Apple, correct? And what is after comma? An empty text, and nothing, a space. So that space, Google Sheet is reading that space as an empty text. Okay. Similarly, if you see here between orange and banana as well, we have two commas, correct? Now, before that comma is orange, Google Sheet is reading as a text, and after that comma, after the first comma and before the second comma, we have nothing but a space. So Google Sheet is reading that space as an empty text. And that's why when we are asking Google Sheet that I do not want to remove the empty text, when we are writing false in the fourth argument, Google Sheet is throwing those empty text in the form of empty cells. So I'll give you one more example. If you see here, we have written split and then at 17, because that's what the text we want to split, and then we have given a comma, okay, as a delimiter, because we want these spaces, because we want these texts to be split by comma as a delimiter. And then we gave, do you want to split by each? Yes, we want to split by each. Wherever you see a comma, split the text. That's what command we are giving to Google Sheet. And then the fourth argument, do you want me to remove the empty space? Yes, I want to remove the empty text. That there also we have given true, which means what we are trying to give command to Google Sheet, that car and then comma, and then we have two commas, right? So Google Sheet is again reading this car delimiter as comma, and then there's a space, this small space which Google Sheet is reading as an empty text. Okay, but since in our formula we told to remove that empty text, that's why we are not getting any blank cell between car and bike and bus. Sorry, if we just give this and again delimiter as this, and then we want to write it as true, and then we write false. No, we do not want, I do not want to remove any empty space. Then what happens? See, car and there's an empty space, and then bike and then empty space. So how Google Sheet is reading it? Car and comma, and after that comma, and before that the two commas that we have, the space that we have between two commas, Google Sheet is reading that as an empty text. And since we told that we do not want to remove it, that's why we are getting two blank cells here. So I hope you found this video helpful. I would suggest you practice on your own. Take a small data set and try to do the trial and error. Try to give yourself different kind of conditions and then practice these functions, because you'll always get hands-on when you practice. Just watching the video will not do. So do that after watching this video. And if you have any doubt, you can always drop a comment and I will help you there. And yeah, that's it. So we'll meet in next session with some new formula. Till then, take care and